My name is Fred Berry, and I am the President and CEO of Humility of Mary Housing, the sponsored housing ministry of the Sisters of the Humility of Mary. Humility of Mary Housing was started in 1987 as Life Opportunity Services, later to become HM Life Opportunity Services, when Sister Loretta Rafter and the leadership team of the Sisters of the Humility of Mary determined that housing single women with children who were homeless was a need of the times. So they started a benchmarking process and looked to create a program where they drafted up a model and pitched it to 3 communities, in which Akron was the most receptive. With that, the sisters opened up Life Opportunity Services on Copley Road in an 8-unit apartment building, which today is still in use by our ministry.
Humility of Mary Housing was instrumental in the direction that my life took after I got a drug treatment.
It was there for me when we didn't have anybody or anything.
The homeless out there, they're still human beings. They still have feelings, needs.
Homelessness is real. Until you see it, you don't know how real it is.
HM Life Opportunity Services was the name of our organization when we first began. That HM stands for the Sisters of the Humility of Mary, and that they're the ones that put in the initial funds. When we first established it, it was established for homeless single-parent families. And right now, it includes all kinds of people.
At Humility of Mary Housing, we work with single homeless parent families. Most of them are moms with children. We have youth aging out of foster care, 18 to 24-year-olds, who also are homeless and have a disability. And then we have seniors. There's a lot of homeless out there. And there's a lot of people that just had a bad life. They've had something happen. And if we could just help one another, it'd be a better place to live.
I first became involved with Humility of Mary Housing when I was in drug rehab. And I was 7 months pregnant. Other housing programs and agencies didn't want me necessarily because of my criminal background. So HM Life was the only one that would accept me. But it's interesting because it's like God will only provide one path, and this is the right one, and that's where you're gonna go.
I just think that people don't choose homelessness. I think that sometimes people fall into it. I had 2 kids, and we had to get out of a situation that wasn't healthy. It would be easy if I was homeless. I could live out of my car or find places, but when you have individuals to be responsible for and to try and give a better life and to try and help them live their dreams, it's scary, you know. And not only are you living in that fear, but you're living in the moment of trying just to survive.
I think they're very courageous people to make the first step, to be able to come and say, I need help.
It truly tries to break the chain of poverty, and it sets the family and the generations to come on a path of self-sufficiency, productivity, just develop a quality family unit, which we all strive for.
I remember Sister Loretta said one time, many of them have not even had a chest of drawers to put clothes in, and they just put clothes on the floor. And I was astounded at that. And so it was teaching basic life skills that most of us learned from our mother and father.
Being the case manager, I can hook them up with other supportive services. I can help educate them. I can help move them through that crisis, get them back to stable. I'm an ear, you know, I listen, I advocate. I do all the things that were done for me.
Gone through a McDonald's drive-through and hand out window. It was the gal that was in the program. People around that normally you wouldn't know, and here you've worked with them and had some hand in helping them along the way.
Throughout the years, I have managed to earn my bachelor's degree in business. I've earned my master's degree in business, and I'm now the Director of Chemical Dependency Services, where I work.
Because of Sister Loretta, she's helped a ton of families coming through these doors. Her vision created housing, which then developed more housing, and without her, these people wouldn't have a place to go.
Housing is really still a problem across the board. Whatever part you play in being a part of this organization, you're making a difference in the life of people.
The 8-unit apartment building that I referenced earlier prior to the video has now grown into 287 apartments in 4 Northeast Ohio counties, to include Summit, Trumbull, Lorain, and Cuyahoga County. Over the years, Humility of Mary Housing has evolved, and our mission is to promote and strengthen the self-sufficiency of individuals and families, especially the poor, through advocacy, supportive services, and quality housing. Our vision is to empower those we serve to live a more abundant life. Of these, the vision and mission, day in and day out, to include values, a value system that's important not only to the Catholic social teachings, but the Sisters of the Humility of Mary as well. And they're important to each team member. So we serve with respect, integrity, justice, collaboration, and compassion. Initially, the program started with serving single women with children who were homeless. Today, we serve single men and women who are chronically homeless. We serve single parent families, which includes single dads. Not very often, but we do have single dads come through the program from time to time, and young men ages 18 to 24 experiencing homelessness. And there's 81 units or apartments that we have to serve those populations. And we also have 206 units to serve low-income seniors. Housing is a fundamental part of stabilizing any individual or family that we serve, but there's so much more to the work that we do than just being a housing provider. And our approach to providing services at all of our sites is known as what we call the Caring Compass. And we use the compass as kind of a guide to work through each individual or family in a client-centered manner, specific to their needs and how they come to us with their own specific situation. So we start by, at the north end of the compass, normalizing life. Go to east and we establish an individual support plan. South is strengthen life skills. And west is work at lasting independence. The supportive services that we offer to get them to self-sufficiency, we do provide direct services like community case management, life skills curriculum. We also provide information and referral, eviction prevention, aftercare, and community activities are an important part of the work that we do as well. We can provide a multitude of supportive services, but one of the most important things in any community is the ability to engage in relationship. And that's something that we take pride in, providing each of our residents the opportunity to participate in such activities. Kind of a holistic approach to addressing the needs of each person. Our client-centered plan begins with us identifying issues and or opportunities for us to engage each resident or each person we serve in a way that addresses any challenges that they face throughout their lifetime. But we also want them to buy into it. So we want them to participate and establish goals for themselves. And there are a variety of ways that we can provide services that address those issues, whether it be food and nutrition, could be legal, could be family mediation, substance use services, walking them through financial literacy, and just good landlord-tenant relationships are just a few examples of the many ways that we engage our residents. The housing model that we engage in is what's known as Housing First. And really all that means simply is we reduce as many barriers that we can to the residents or the people that we serve to obtaining housing and maintaining that housing. So we don't necessarily have certain criteria that folks have to meet in order to be eligible beyond income and or funder defined criteria. So for example, that means that a person who is actively using drugs or alcohol, that would not be an exclusionary factor for us to house them. If they have criminal backgrounds, if they have a lengthy eviction history, which oftentimes folks we serve do have eviction histories, because they're marginalized, most of them. And so we try to reduce all those barriers so that it's easier for folks to access the housing and the services that we offer. And when they're with us, we work with them every day to make sure that they remain in that housing. There's a lot of positive things about the work that we do that other providers don't. And so some of the things that I'm very proud of for the team and as a ministry is our team has the ability and the compassion to look beyond trauma, mental illness, and substance use disorder, and all disabilities to see the true spirit of the person on the inside. It's an acknowledgement that, again, that folks are coming to us with trauma, and we want to approach them in a way that doesn't trigger and or continue that feeling of trauma that they've just experienced. And mental illness, people, if they're not treated for their mental illness, they can be very challenging to work with. And our team has the ability to see through that and see what's in the heart of that individual. And that's a really important quality of our work. We are an extension of the Sisters of the Humility of Mary and the community at large. And we want to be representative of their identity and charism. And the fact that our team members can see through the surface level characteristics of each individual we serve is one way that we are that extension of the community and their identity and their charism. A couple other examples that I'm very proud of are in a recent survey through CARF International it's an accreditation that we've obtained in our commitment to excellence. The lead surveyor, upon closing out the survey, told the team that your agency is justice and equity in action. And that's just a beautiful example of our mission, vision, and values at work. And again, the identity and the charisma of the Sisters of the Humility of Mary. And then lastly, not everyone likes to fund religious organizations in the philanthropic community. And so sometimes we have to answer to that as far as a faith-based ministry. How are we going to ensure that we're not preaching or proselytize? But the biggest thing that we tell funders, and it's true to this day, is while we are a faith-based ministry, we serve everyone. We serve the most challenging we serve the most vulnerable, and we serve the most marginalized populations in each community we serve in. And that is the spirit of the ministry when Sister Loretta started it over 35 years ago.